Welcome to the Christopher Jimenez Show.
Welcome to the show. This is episode number 25 of the Christopher Jimenez Show. Thank you so much for listening again, and hey, here's some consistency, 2 weeks in a row, 2 Sundays in a row. Maybe we'll call it a trend. Ooh, maybe not. Well, I have a lot to get to today, so let's jump right into it. Topic number 1, we've got Baby Jimenez had a milestone this past week. We went and took her to the pediatrician. We had no shots today, or no shots last week, I should say. She is growing strong, growing well. She's a little bit small, but she's fine. And we had, like I said, no shots, but she did end up crying because we pierced her little ears, and that was a precious little moment. Not really the holding her down part, or the doctor kind of placing her head in the right spot so he could get that ear piercing gun into her earlobe. But just seeing her grow up, I know I'm kind of jumping the gun a little bit with growing up and all that stuff, but it just feels like it's going fast, and I just want to hang on to every little moment and enjoy every little moment, and I guess this was a moment that, even though it was kind of a little bit of a tough one for her, she was really, really, really mad. I mean, she was seething mad. She didn't cry out of pain. She cried out of it seemed more like she was mad that we forced her to get into a position that she didn't want to get into. It was just like a mess. But she's beautiful with her little pierced ears. She's happy with them now, and I guess that's the good thing, and that's great. So we continued on, and I am remiss because I didn't start off my podcast by wishing everyone a happy Easter, and I apologize for that. Happy Easter to all my listeners, both of you. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you had a wonderful and a blessed Easter. Today we had a little Easter celebration. We purchased zoo passes this past week for the year. We got a deal on them, so we ended up buying zoo passes. So we'll be going to the zoo quite often throughout this year. And I personally love the zoo. I love going and seeing all the animals and watching, just kind of chilling and sitting on benches and hoping that they do something cool. Which half the time they do, and Zoo Miami has an awesome zoo with some really cool new features, including the Wings of Asia aviary, which is just super awesome. It's got like an exhibit on the inside, and then you walk through fully stocked aviary with all kinds of birds that just kind of walk around, and they're used to people by now, so they're not going to fly away from you. They're just going to kind of hang out. So it's really pretty awesome, and my baby really liked that. I mean, she's only 3 months old, but she sat in that sling and she was looking at every single bird like come here, I want to pet you. Come here. It was super cute. Super awesome to see her enjoy herself like that. But we actually went to the zoo today to go to their Easter egg safari celebration. It was kind of cool. I mean, we went. It felt like almost like a race expo. There were a whole bunch of tents there. Disney had a really cool tent there actually, where they were doing a trivia game, and it was like Family Feud. It seemed like from what they were explaining, it was like a Family Feud where you matched up like pictures to where which Disney park it was, and if you beat the other family, you were still in the running for annual passes. We kind of wanted to do that, but it looked like, or the Disney employees or the people who ran the tent told us it was like a 2-hour wait, so we couldn't exactly stand in the blazing hot Miami sun for 2 hours with our little child there, just for the opportunity to maybe play and win. So we skipped out on that. Some of the other tents were kind of weird. Like you had to pay for a ticket to play a game in order to win Nestle Quick bunny ear Nestle Quick bunny ear paper fan, and those things are usually free. So we were like, why are you making us pay. I guess I understand that you want to make money, but come on, dudes. Like, it's better for your brand if you just give it away. It's paper on a stick. We didn't actually do the egg hunt because she's only 3 months and she's not going to do an egg hunt. But we did go, and we were actually trying to get a picture with the Easter Bunny. That was also paid to do, so we were like, let's skip on that too. Yeah, we're kind of cheap. I'm sorry. But we don't really feel like spending money for a 3-month-old. We took plenty of pictures on our own, so no worries about that. We have her early life documented, well documented. So that was that. I mean, the zoo was super, super packed. I mean, it was wall to wall people. It was a massive humanity. I've been to races with less people, in the corrals and stuff. Like, been to 5Ks and done that where you had more breathing room in a corral than we did walking around the zoo today. It was crazy. Oh, and everybody wanted one of those bicycles, those bicycle car things. Man, everybody was trying to rent them out. They were flying all over the place. What's up with parents who get into a big crowd and all of a sudden, like, they're pushing their cart and they don't even care to look where their cart's going, so it cuts people off. I mean, we had our baby in a sling so that we didn't have to worry about pushing a cart around or a stroller around. We figured that there would be a lot of people. My goodness. I mean, come on, people. Okay, rant over. Let's move on to our next topic. So the Boston Marathon is tomorrow. I'm super pumped to watch it. I was super pumped to watch last year's as I found a place to live stream it, and I was super excited. It was my first time actually watching a run, which I never thought I would do. I never thought I would sit there and watch other people run. But it's amazing to watch these elite athletes just pound out 6-minute miles and 5-minute miles for a marathon. I mean, come on. Beast mode. Of course, last year's was marred by tragedy, and it was I was sitting there just watching and enjoying the festivities and marveling at the running community and how strong it is and how welcoming it is and how how undaunted it is. And then this happened, the explosions, and they cut over to it, and a race, color commentators became news people, and there was confusion and terror, and it was just, it was not cool, but after seeing, how the running community, stood up, and how we, I believe I have a podcast talking about how we went to that run down here in Miami, basically running that Boston Strong and running with Boston and running in solidarity. I've noticed that the running community is strong, it's loving, it's accepting, and we're not going to get pushed around. I've been to, we've run a few races since the Boston bombings, and yes, we're being more careful. Yes, security is heightened, but not to the level where it's restrictive, not to the level where it's no more fun. It's no fun anymore to go run a race. No, it's fun. It's a blast. People have a good time. We're not looking and imagining terror in every corner. We're just aware, and it's a healthy level of awareness. Maybe we haven't been aware before, but now we're totally aware. And there's no fear. Nobody's scared. We're not scared of anything. We're not. And that's good. We're strong, and we're not going to get pushed around. I don't have any commemorative runs planned. I wasn't able to make it out to Miami's Boston Strong run last week due to my training schedule. I was actually taking a rest week last week because I finished the Nike Plus training plan, which you can hear about in my previous podcast. But yeah, it looked like they had a fantastic turnout, and I might try and get out there. I'm not scheduled to run, but I might try and get out there tomorrow to kind of maybe do 2.62 miles or something like that. I'm not quite at marathon level, but I might go out and pound out some miles tomorrow, just because it's Boston. I know that people might critique me for that, but I don't care. I'm gonna go out maybe just because it's Boston. If I don't go out, it's because probably because the baby was being crazy and I needed to take care of her, or because I needed to do other things around the house. I'm sorry, but family has to come first. That's how I roll. Speaking of running and being at home, what's the deal with people walking around naked? I mean, I've been walking around my neighborhood, running and doing exercise, and I've come across like 3 people. One person walking his dog in his boxers, some other dude walking around. It looked like in a lady's like little nightie, like a night, almost like a robe, like a little light one. And I was like, dude, what are you walking around? And then a lady walking around in the dudes. Maybe they were from the same house. I don't know. But, dude, what's with that? I don't know. I don't have any answers. I'm asking the question. If anybody knows, you can hit me up on Twitter at CJMNZ8. Let's get to my final point here. Now, I did mention Happy Easter to everybody. I didn't mention it at the beginning. I should have. I apologize for that again. But I do have this one story from Easter, from today, actually. And it's quite important, and this is where we're going to get into some serious stuff here. And, I already talked about how we went to the zoo, talked about the Easter Bunny and Easter egg hunts. But I'm going to talk to you a little bit right now about the real reason for Easter. And if you know my podcast, you know that I run wetalkofholythings.com. That's my blog, my main social media source. Or even if you follow me on Twitter, you'll know that I'm a Christian, and I love the Lord Jesus, and you know the story of the Lord Jesus. I was at church this morning, and a gentleman got up and shared this story, and this story is really it really illustrates the reason for Easter and what Easter is all about. He said, a story is told about a Sunday school teacher who decided on a lesson plan. The lesson plan was that she was going to send her kids home with those colored Easter eggs. The hollow ones that you fill with whatever you want. She gave one to each kid. Ba, 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 ba. That's her handing them out, of course. That's the sound effect of handing out, of course. And, she gave it to each kid, and each kid was sent home and told to fill up their Easter egg with what they thought Easter was all about, or what spoke to them most about Easter, or what their favorite part of Easter. Anything they wanted to put in that has to do with Easter. And so, they do that. They go home, spend the week, they think about it, they come back the next Sunday, and it's time to share. So, the first little girl comes up and she opens up her egg, and in there is a little plastic rabbit, little toy plastic rabbit. And everybody looks at it, oh, bunny rabbit. Yeah, everybody knows the connection between Easter and bunny rabbits, of course. And then she goes and sits down, and the next person, a little boy, comes up, and this time he opens his egg, and oh, look, another rabbit. But this time, it was a chocolate rabbit. So everybody was like, ooh, because, everybody loves chocolate. Duh. And so, the teacher thanks him and sits him down, and then up comes the next person, a little girl, and this little girl comes up, and she opens her egg, and ooh, jelly beans, right? Everybody loves jelly beans, and you only get jelly beans, of course, or the most popular time for jelly beans is, of course, Easter. And so on and so forth. They go through, each person opens up their thing, and typically there's candy or something like that. And finally the teacher calls up the shy little boy and who always sits in the corner, and every single class seems to have one of these, either a little boy or a little girl who's really shy, really quiet, and just kind of sits in the back and observes and is more an inward thinking, less outgoing person. Maybe a little socially awkward. I was one of those kids, so I kind of connected with this boy right away. And this poor little boy, he was kind of shy, and his shoulders were hunched over. He was looking to the ground, and the teacher calls him up, and he kind of comes up unsure of himself, and he opens his egg, and there was nothing in it. Completely empty. Not a single thing. And of course, as tends to happen with groups of children, the kids were laughing at him. They started hooting and hollering and how could you not bring something? How could you, what's wrong with you? All these little mean things that kids say, and the teacher just tried to take control of the situation, quiet everybody down, and asked him. He said, "Why didn't you bring anything? Why didn't you fill your egg with what you thought, or what means most to you for Easter, or what Easter brings to mind?" And the little boy said, "The tomb was empty. My egg is empty." The teacher began to weep. Because isn't that the reason for Easter? Religiously speaking, within Christendom, that's the reason for Easter. Easter tells us that, Jesus Christ, God in flesh, lived a perfect life, died on the cross on Good Friday, was buried, stayed in the tomb on the Sabbath or Saturday, but by Sunday morning, he rose again. The tomb that he was put in is now empty, and it's been empty. Anyone could have, at that time, if the high priest, the governor, anyone could have taken a look at the tomb to see if he was there. Or, there's no way that Jesus' followers, unskilled fishermen, could have fought off a Roman squadron that was sent to secure the tomb. We don't have any writings from that era stating that Jesus' body was ever found anywhere. On the contrary, we have men who thoroughly and absolutely convinced that they saw a resurrected Jesus Christ, who were willing to lay down their life, to die, to be killed, to be sawn in half, to be boiled, to be crucified themselves, to be run through with the sword, to be killed in all kinds of excruciating ways. People were willing to die because they believed that they saw the resurrected Jesus. That's what Easter's about. And it's about hope. Hey, we have hope that one day our tombs will be empty as well. Well, that's my theme music, so I gotta take off. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter at CJMZ8. You can check out my blog, WeTalkOfHolyThings.com.
Remember, you can follow me on Twitter at CJMNZ8. Thank you so much.